Before we start, thank you all for coming. This is really cool. There's quite a few people here, and I'm assuming they're mostly for the guy in the middle, but we do appreciate you coming. And sit. This room, the Dice Tower doesn't have an actual official booth. We're with cool stuff, so we can't get rooms. This room was gotten for us from Stronghold Games, and which has possibly the kindest, nicest owner in existence.
I agree.
Stronghold does not make one bad game. Their games are all fantastic, and you should all go by their booth. I would tell you to buy all their games, but they've sold most of them. But there are some left, some excellent, wonderful games, and we are happy tonight to be graced by the almost divine presence of Stephen Bonacore, who I so do appreciate with all my heart.
Now that you've said that off mic, we should start recording, right?
And that's right. And now,
I'm sure that a lot of people recorded now.
Yeah.
I have it.
okay. Well, let's go.
Numbers are moving. Good sign. Welcome to the Dice Tower, a podcast about board games and card games, but especially all these people who play them. On today's show, we're live from Gen Con 2014 with a cavalcade of special guests, our thoughts on the games we've played and the convention as a whole, and maybe even share a song or two. I'm Eric Summerer, and here are your hosts. Joining me on the panel, two of the top three hosts of Miami Dice, Tom Vasel and Zee Garcia.
All right, well, welcome to the show. We are glad. That is my favorite introduction so far, ever. Welcome to year 2, episode 4.
You guys are sticking with that?
I think you should.
It's time to drop that.
I think it is too.
This is one of the few disputes between co-hosts. One of us wants to drop it, and one of us wants to keep it.
Fortunately, one of us says the numbers.
And one of you can kick the other one off, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, there's that.
That's a minor bit.
Okay, well, anyhow, this is going to be a Dice Tower Network-style show. We have many of the folks in our network who will come up and briefly be on the show. We had to say briefly mostly because there's so many of them here. But we are doing this live from Gen Con 2014, and we are a Friday night, a little more than halfway. And this is, I don't need the numbers from the Gen Con committee. This is by far the biggest Gen Con, by far. Every retailer that I've talked to, publisher here, most of them have told me that they made more money on Thursday than they made all last year together. So, and just the size of the convention has grown. And when I was fighting my way through the aisles today, it felt like Saturday from last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do you guys think of the show?
Well, I know the first thing I noticed is when I was here on Wednesday, it felt like Saturday outside. It wasn't. We weren't even going yet, and the food trucks were outside, and the people were bombarding them already, and you couldn't tell that we weren't going here, and that right there lets you know that this is just jam-packed with gamers. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot more lines, a lot more just general crowding in the halls, and usually Friday's a little bit of a lull, and that didn't seem like the case today. There's a lot of energy. It's a lot of positive energy. I haven't seen a whole lot of griping, but it's been a great time so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to turn off some people who aren't as big of fans of crowds, and that's a fair thing. I mean, this is not a peaceful Zen convention. You're
No.
going to lose all your energy by the time it's done. And I challenge anybody to go through the entire exhibition hall in one day. I don't think it's physically possible. I think we can say to all the haters out there, this is now the largest gaming convention in the world. It's not even a question at this point. Not It's not a contest.
Then why are you making it one?
Oh, look, 10 people just left.
No, because I was right last year. I'll stop banging
Stop
the table.
banging the table, Tom.
It says stop. It said stop before I even started banging the table.
I know my audience.
Thank you. Okay. Anyhow, okay, forget the size. What else? Thoughts and observations.
Thoughts and observations. The announcer read off a random string of words in the middle of the convention hall today. Did any of you guys hear that? Attention, Gen Con attendees. Flower. Tree. I don't know.
Was that part of a secret contest, maybe?
I don't know. I have no idea why he did it.
I totally missed it, but I wish I'd been there. I could have played along. That'd be great.
Well, probably we missed it because it was during the Fantasy Flight in-flight report.
Well, there was that.
Which, okay, seriously now.
Let's get serious.
Serious.
Star Wars Descent is possibly the coolest words I've ever heard put together. In gaming. Tom Vasel was the coolest words I put together. Well, no, we just got.
Wow, that was the sweetest
Well,
thing.
no, somebody's going to come back later on. Okay, but anyhow, no, but their announcement today about, what was the game called now? It's
Imperial Assault.
Imperial Assault. And I was so close to being right. Because we always guess what Fantasy Flight is, and we're always wrong.
I was particularly wrong. And Tom kept mentioning it to me because I said on the preview videos I was hoping that they would reprint Blue Moon City.
I was going to ask, but you wouldn't
And
let
every
me.
time they said anything, he'd lean in and say, "No Blue Moon City, what's going on? I guess you were wrong, Z." Like, yes, I know. Stop. At the end, he was going to ask Christian Peterson, so Blue Moon City, because this guy's an idiot. And yeah, don't embarrass me anymore. I know, I was way off on that one.
No, but it doesn't matter because
I would love it to come back.
the people
but-
who want Blue Moon City are somewhat smaller than the ones who are going to buy this box of miniatures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's great. And they announced a whole pile of other cool things too. We've already mentioned those. One of the things they've announced earlier is XCOM.
Yes.
Now, have you played this yet, Eric?
No, I've seen large crowds around the table every time I go by to take a look at it. I know you guys have played it.
Well,
We did.
playing is a strong word there.
I know you experienced death and destruction.
XCOM is a cooperative game in which 4 people play, and each person plays a very specific part. One person's a scientist, one person's the economic.
One person can't roll dice. At all.
I would argue that none of us can roll dice that day. One person's like in charge of logistics, and that might sound. It's a timed game. It's based on an app that you need to play the game, which is a wise move on their part. And Fantasy Flight gave a long spiel about that today. Which, if people still want to argue, whatever, go text someone. But it's really cool. The app keeps moving. It's like a real-time game. You know, it tells you what's going on. You know, there's an alien showing up there. Spend your money wisely. And then he's doing money, and it tells me to send troops out to the field. And you only have so many seconds to do these things. And when you're done, then you pause the app, and then you go through a whole pile of watching aliens destroy Earth.
Basically, yeah. And when they started explaining the game, they divvied up everybody else's, responsibilities within the game, and someone's controlling, the military, and someone's controlling satellites, and then they get to me and they go, "Yeah, you're going to take care of the budget." What am I doing? Balancing the checkbooks? XCOM?
I'd like to point out that you didn't balance the budget at a very critical time.
I did mess up. I can't count. I don't know if you knew that, but I cannot. Between 12 and 14. And so I messed up and we died, but it wasn't just my fault. We couldn't roll dice either.
No, yeah. wake up. No, but
The app makes that sound when you mess up.
we played on normal level. We, in retrospect, probably should have picked easy. Because there was
You always do that.
No, I didn't pick hard.
No. If we play a game, I don't care what it is. You could be like, oh, you can be a farmer. You can be, a car builder. You can be Cthulhu's buddy, and you're like, yeah, that one, yeah. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Yeah, let's hang out with Cthulhu, and then he destroys you, and you always do that. I want to be a florist, just once. One time.
But you got to be an accountant and you screwed it up.
Anyway, the game doesn't actually feel much like XCOM at all, except the part of the screen where they tell you China canceled their funding. That happened, and that's basically this game. The country slowly reduced their budget, and I think we had the entire world.
Oh, they were gone. Yeah. No, we killed just about everyone.
So, but it's a really entertaining game. It's very co-op, and our game took, less than an hour. However, I would argue it should have gone longer.
Yes. It's very original. I did like that. It feels unique.
It's brutal. I don't think anybody will win their first time through because you'll say, oh, I should have done that. There's a lot of things you have to remember to do and a lot of things going on. And I thought that was pretty cool. Different technologies can change the actions you can take on your turn.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of cards that, to activate them, you need to do nothing but remember to activate them. So they showed us those cards, and I went, oh, okay, whatever, big deal. I'll just tap, turn the card and activate it, and I forgot every turn. The app starts to go, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, money, budget. I forgot the card, and every single turn I forgot to do it.
And I would make fun of that, but the troops were not. I had troops sitting in the barracks. Just I don't know what they were doing. Probably playing board games, and I will say that the scientist remembered to do his job. But he over-budgeted, and I don't believe he rolled one good roll the entire game. No. Yes.
He was clearly the Cylon in that situation.
So, anyhow, it's an interesting game. I'm looking forward to seeing the final version. The app was kind of a very, very prototype app. I mean, it worked, but there was no bells, whistles, and lights, and someone maniacally laughing at you, and so on.
Which it will have.
Probably. Eric, did you play a more fun game?
I haven't had a chance to play much. I've read the rules to Tragedy Looper, and they're a little confusing, but it has potential, mechanically very exciting. I did get to sit down and go to the Plaid Hat booth and play Video Game High School, which is a very light sort of take that action selection game. And you're also rolling dice kind of like King of Tokyo. So you roll your dice and you get the symbols you're looking for, and you're trying to complete challenges and maybe earn high scores in various video games. And then you place your workers and do these things. You have to go to the arcade and play this particular game, but only one person's able to do it at any one time. So you're having trouble taking care of these actions while your opponents are using their dice to mess you up. And they can also change the faces of your dice before you've used them in various ways. So while you can certainly mess with your opponents, it can be frustrating if you have a plan and you aren't going to be able to complete that plan because that guy messes with you. Which is certainly the case with lots of action selection games, but this one has a slightly more intense frustration factor because of that direct messing with your dice. I still enjoyed it, but it's something to be aware of if you're looking at it as a purchase. Video Game High School.
All right, so we destroyed the world, and I apologize for that. And that's pretty horrific, so let's continue with more horror.
And now, another tale of board gaming horror.
Gather round. Gather round. Gather round. Gather round. Now gather round, children, I'll tell you a tale, and one that might make you sad, explaining the reasons my war game was doomed the day I became a dad. For years I'd collected each ASL set, each trooper, each tank, and each gun, in perfect condition, pristine and preserved, so that one day I'd play with my son. Oh, the thousands of chits were a sight to behold. In those planos I labeled myself, all sorted by squad type and national flag on an easy-to-reach lower shelf. Pause for laughter. My son had a play date, adults were upstairs, the 4-year-olds down below, when one of these playmates proposed an idea and my offspring just couldn't say no. When at last the grown-ups checked in on the kids, my son greeted all with a smile. They had emptied each Play-Doh box onto the floor and took turns as they jumped in the pile. As the cardboard scattered like leaves in the fall amid squealing and dancing with joy, the parents stood frozen in stunned disbelief at the chaos just caused by the boy. Oh, I wish I could tell you how long it would take to put the game back the right way. I just shoveled the mass into one cardboard box. It remains in that state to this day. If there's one thing to learn from my tale of woe, it's to thine own collection be true. Oh, remember to place your games well out of range, or this tale could happen to you. If there's one thing to learn from my tale of woe, it's to thine own collection be true. Oh, remember to place your games well out of range, or this tale could happen to you.
Well, thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. You should have warned me. I mean, this is...
He whined and said, I want to go first so I don't look stupid.
Well, thanks, buddy.
I just wanted to get it over with.
Next time you do that. All right, well, let's get back to... That was the most laughed I've ever heard during a tale of horror. Not one of you would have laughed in that situation.
You know what's interesting is this is obviously based on a true story. And the subject of that true story is in this room. But it's okay, he went on to design some hit board games. Mr. Engelstein.
Wait, then that would mean the culprit's in this room also.
So it all worked out.
Okay, well, let's back to games here. Okay, what do you think? We're about halfway through. What do you think is the hot game of the con? The hot.
I would have said King of New York, but they had some issues with getting all of the games they expected to get here. So I haven't seen as many people playing that game. I would also say Sheriff of Nottingham is pretty popular. But that's also because, from our perspective, we've been handing out promos from the Dice Tower booth. So we've been seeing a lot of people coming by with the boxes or about to go get the boxes.
That seems scientific, though.
Well,
I think we'll just go with that.
It's a slightly skewed perspective, I have to admit. But I have seen a lot of people carrying those boxes around. How about you guys?
Well, I actually would have said 5 tribes, but I think they're running into the same issue that King of New York is running into, in which they only have about 50 copies each day, and they are leaving in 10 minutes, but again, they don't have that many. That would be what I would say is the hit. But honestly, there's so many things that I think are doing particularly well, it's hard to pick one.
Yeah, really. Dead of Winter also is out, and that was another one that people were running for. There was Panamax, but there was only 100 copies of that, so there was more than 100? 120. Once again, I'm very sorry. Please. Anyhow, but that sold out, and I mean, there's actually several games that have sold out. I almost feel bad, almost, for the Saturday gamers who come in because there's a lot of games, but I don't feel that bad because there are so many good games out there. I mean, the entire Asmodee booth, the entire Yellow booth. I mean, even besides King of New York, I mean, there's games everywhere. Flying Frogs is a super hot game. I don't know how Sons of Anarchy is doing.
I don't know. The lines at the Gale Force 9 booth have not been quite as extensive as I expected them to be. I think they expected Blue Sun, the Firefly game, the expansion, and Sons of Anarchy to be flying off the shelves. I think I saw piles when I went by midday today.
Well, here, we're all scientific. Let's do a poll in this room, okay? Who got King of New York? Okay.
Luckies.
You will get beat up on the way out. Okay.
There's about 4 hands up.
Okay. How about Dead of Winter?
Okay.
Quite a few more in 2030, maybe?
Yep.
You guys are fast counters.
I'm guessing.
You can't count like 6 dice. You can't count $13 billion. All right. Let's see. What other games were we talking about? We just mentioned
Sons of
it, right?
Anarchy.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy. Who's got that one?
2.
Okay, so we're
3.
not going to call that hot because it's still there. And 2 or 3. How about how about Cash Guns? Cash Guns 2.
That's a lot of hands.
Yeah, and I've seen that one being played and such.
Yeah.
What's the Days of Wonder one you just mentioned?
5 tribes.
5 Tribes.
Not as many, but more than some of the others we mentioned.
It's about 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what game then is like there's a lot of and a lot of people are buying it. Any shout outs? Oh, that's good. Who got Doomtown Reloaded?
Simon, Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, Sheriff of Nottingham. I like this
Again, I
audience.
think it's a skewed audience.
This is science. Science. Oh yeah, okay. Shadowrun Crossfire. How about that one? Who hasn't bought any games yet?
No.
Okay. Who's bought entirely too many games and are wondering how to hide them at home?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there they go. They come out.
All right. So for those of you listening on the audio, that was so much fun.
I know. Future Eric's going to come in. There are 4 hands showing.
Now, if
Okay.
you actually come in now, it'll be really confusing.
That would be.
Go.
There are 8 hands showing.
Did we do that live or not? Don't laugh. Did we do that live or not?
Okay. What is the most interesting game that you have seen that you're like pumped about that's actually available, not coming out?
You mean other than Tragedy Looper?
Is that really the one that you're most hyped about?
It's the one that seems most fascinating to me. It has the potential to crash and burn terribly. I have a copy. I've opened it up. It has 2 rule books, one for the bad guy, the mastermind, and one for the other players.
Oh yes.
It's a 1 versus 3. That's what it's designed to be anyway. And there's a whole script of actions that have to go into this. So the mastermind is triggering things and moving people around the board and trying to get them worked up enough. They have like these intrigue tokens, and if they panic enough, then they can trigger events. And you have to sort of get these people worked up to be able to trigger the events that are supposed to be scripted. And meanwhile, the other players are trying to figure out why all of this is happening. They don't even know what plot is going on. They're like, oh, is this a murder plot, or is this a heist plot, or what's going on here? And they're all trying to figure out based on what the actions of the bad guy are, but then they're going to fail on the first round, but then they rewind time and start over and try and change history, which is fascinating.
You should work for Z-Man. All they said was, we have a new game called Tragedy Looper. It's about time travel.
I tried, but they kicked me out.
All right, Z, I don't know what yours is, but go ahead.
What is it, Tom?
It's 5 Tribes, come on.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's my favorite game I've played so far. I've played a good amount of games. Actually, I played more games this year up to this point than I played last year. But 5 Tribes is just about far and away the best one. Because I haven't actually played anything else that I think is even near how amazing that game is. It's just brilliant. It's a great Euro, and I'm typically not a Euro, fanatic, but I do tend to like the family weight Euros, and that one is just a brilliant piece of design. I love it. And it looks great, too, obviously, because Days of Wonder just pulls out all the stops. So absolutely. 5 tribes.
I've played one game. That's not funny. All right.
It's hilarious.
No, I just played Cash and Guns 2, which I really enjoyed. Cash and Guns 1's out the door. A cheaper price point, 8 guns instead of 6. Drafting, cool special powers. It's a great price point in a box. Black guns with orange tips. It looks cooler. I really enjoyed that. I'm very much looking forward to playing Kingsport. That's from Passport Games. They have, it's basically Kingsburg with a horror theme, Cthulhu. It's different than Kingsburg, but not that much. It's the same general concept where you roll 3 dice with some differences. This is from reading the rules, where if you have nowhere to put a die, there's a spot to put the die on. So that's, like the loser spot. It's very dark. I mean, darkety dark. Darker, darkest.
Different game.
But we're trying to mix them all up. But I mean, the artwork I was looking at, had to leave the lights on last night. But it does look interesting, and Kingsburg is one that I enjoy quite a bit.
Yep.
All right, well, now it's time for us to all learn from Game Tech. I don't have the intro, so let's hand over the microphone to Mr. Jeff Engelstein. Do I need to move?
I have backup.
Do I need to move? Here, I'll let you sit here.
Thank you. Fran, I'm sitting. You stand.
I'll stand. That ASL teleport is actually a true story, by the way. It really did happen.
Is it still there in that box to this day?
It is, yes. There's no music. Okay.
I know.
We could sing.
There's no music,
We could
so
sing
maybe
you
we
in.
can sing something. So, with this being a special Gen Con Live episode of the Dice Tower, we decided that it might be fun to go back and look at, kind of the history of game tech and a little bit about game tech in song.
Hey, Dad. Since I don't really listen to your podcast, how did Game Tech get its start? Don't.
Don't do that. In 2007, I'm told the Dice Tower podcast sent out a call to listeners everywhere, to gamers one and all. And so we sent in a proposal for a new type of segment to cover different types of stuff, and this is how it went.
Dun, dun.
We went in order to form a more perfect player, get people thinking about math and science literacy. For our crazy psych experiments, Monty Hall, the prisoner's dilemma, fun with colonoscopies, and a bit of probability to record and edit down this podcast segment for the Dice Tower listeners around the globe. For the Dice Tower listeners around the globe.
Now, I've heard your first game tech was about a very popular game topic.
When you roll the dice and you want to see, you need
Probability.
what you want and what can be about to get.
Probability.
Now you know how much you're hosed with your
Probability. There are 3 pages. The segment was off and running. Some of our favorite episodes have been about a specific game mechanic. Let's check one out now.
changing Vinci to make something new. Philip K. Arts knew just what to do. He increased the warring and made it less boring. Like a small world, hidden scoring.
You get so many points.
No, that's not fair. Attacking a guy down there.
Hidden scoring, entertainment, and emotion. Even when it's trackable info by someone with good memory, but not by a player with a pencil and a pad.
Another topic is how to make the complex seem simple, starting with something every game has.
Instruction junction.
Both working so that they can play right.
Instruction junction. How's that function?
I got 3 favorite tools that get most of my job done.
Instruction junction. What's their function?
I got rules, graphics, and theme, they'll get you pretty far. Rules! That's the details of the game, like place the red piece on the center space. Graphics! That's little pictures that act as reminders of what to do, like an arrow between a red piece and the center space. And then there's theme. That makes it easier for people to remember. Like the red piece is a brick and you're building a house in the center space. Rules, graphics, and theme will get you pretty far.
Instruction junction. What's their function?
Teach your folks board games so that they can play right.
Many years later, thanks to Ryan Stern, he decided to start the Ludology podcast, which would focus in depth on game design topics. One of the recent shows was about, well, let's sit back and find out.
Boy, you sure gotta walk pretty far around here at Gen Con, but I wonder what these sad scraps of paper and cardboard are.
I'm an idea, yeah, I'm just an idea. Well, it's a long, long journey to the game store shelf. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting by myself. But I know I'll be a game someday. And pray that I'll be, but today I am just an idea.
Gee, idea, you sure have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. Most ideas don't even get to become sad little prototypes. They just bounce around the designer's head. I'm an idea, yeah, I'm just an idea, and I'm sitting here in prototype form. Well, it's a long, long journey to a Gen Con booth. It's a long, long wait if I can tell you the truth. But I know I'll be a game someday, at least I hope and pray that I'll be. But today I am just an idea.
Congratulations, prototype! A publisher has asked to see you.
Sydney! Sit back down. All right, well, since we have Jeff here, who's one of our Dice Tower networks with the Ludology, Ryan Stern wasn't able to be here. We had Jeff and Sydney go with us through True Dungeon, which was an experience. We're not going to spoil it because we are Friday night, and
Some of you have yet to go through it.
we're
yet.
not going to spoil it. Just clarifying that with everyone who might have gone with us. But we can talk in some general terms about our thoughts on this. What did you guys think this, now that you went with a group who actually won at you? Well, the first time Jeff went through you were a tag along, right?
Yeah, it was just a random group, so the other folks all knew each other, we were just on. But no, it was fun. We certainly enjoyed it. I mean, I kind of in a way felt the same way about True Dungeon, which is that it's a great experience. I love doing it. I wish that it wasn't as much money as it is. It's close to $50 at this point, and that's a lot for an hour-long experience. But the people put a tremendous amount of work. The props in there, some of them are amazing, and I totally do not understand the fascination that people have with getting the loot. I guess that's the one piece of it, that the people that just go back over and over and over again. But I guess that's just that's part of the enjoyment that they get out of it.
Well, what did you think, Sydney?
I liked it. I was upset that our bard didn't sing. I thought the bard would sing. But,
Instead of just saying he was going to sing.
yeah, he was just like, I am now singing. Sing for us. But it was really fun. I may have screamed just once. I'm not very good at scary things and it was dark. But I enjoyed myself. I was glad to play a spellcaster because I was pretty awful at the sliding thing. The spellcasting was fun.
All right, what do you guys think about the convention so far? Thoughts?
I think it's been a good one. I think it's been different than past years in that there really isn't that dominant game that everyone's running getting. And I mean, you guys kind of wrestled with coming up with what the hot game is at the show. And I don't know if it's just because it seems like all the ones that people wanted are in such limited quantity, or
Yeah.
it's really just, it's just all kind of spread out. And hopefully it's a good thing that there's so many good games now that there's not just one that comes out and it's like a behemoth that goes through the convention. So I'm having a good time. I also have not had a chance to play games too much. The one I've liked the best so far has been Imperial Settlers.
Another one with very limited quantities,
Yeah,
too.
I saw that.
I pre-ordered that one, so that was why I was able to get one from Portal. But that's a fun one that I look forward to trying again.
Yeah, I went to, just to say hi, we already gotten our copy, but I went to their booth, the Portal booth, at 11 o'clock yesterday. The dealers opened everyone at 10, they were already all gone.
Yeah.
So that was 2 hours.
It's also bad because they do have a stack, but they're all reserved for people who are picking them up at the show. So you get really excited. Oh, you got the no.
So Eric is against pre-ordering.
I'm just saying it makes me sad. You can do it if you want.
Just hide the games people pre-ordered.
There you go.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you, Engelsteins, very much for bringing
for
back
having us.
Schoolhouse Rock. Speaking of bards who can't sing, or won't, can't sing, won't sing, let's bring up our bard, Dan King. Yeah, no, Sydney said it, not me. You get to be on the show for a moment. And Ryan Metzler, our two very prolific video reviewers of the Dice Tower, do a great job, both of them.
I'll be glad to hear that I am also not going to sing.
All right, so, well, first, you guys were in True Dungeon. This was your first time ever going. What'd you think of it?
It was one of those things where I'm glad I went. It was an interesting experience. Not sure I would spend the money that people do in that thing to do it again. I think that the puzzles were very interesting, where you're trying to work together. There was one where we were all...
No spoilers. No spoilers. People might still go on the thing.
Okay. The puzzles were interesting. The combat was crazy. I was a bard, so I had to sing, which you don't want to hear me do. Yeah.
Sydney
Actually sang, though.
Sydney pointed out that you did not sing, actually.
They didn't ask me to, so I wasn't going to offer it.
So you just said, now I'm singing, and that was it.
I was afraid if I did, a red light would come on, we automatically would have failed and sat there for 12 minutes to get to the next room.
And I will remind you, Tom, that yet again, I did not go to True Dungeon.
Right.
This is the third time I think I've reminded you.
You were there in spirit, though.
Thank you for coming in spirit. But, okay, well, anyhow, Ryan, you and Dan are the reviewers, so that's why you came up together. I'm really bad at this. All right.
Wait, we're what now?
That's a quote I'll use later.
All right.
Note to
So
self.
how about you
save.
two? What do you think about the convention? Thoughts on hot games, games you're really interested in, people that you want to play games with instead of coming to Dice Tower live shows?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'd like to start by talking about Tragedy Looper, actually, because I have had a chance to play.
Nice.
I got it before the convention, so I didn't actually play it here. Yeah, look at that. But much along the lines of what you said, it is very confusing from the rule book. The rule book, in and of itself, is not nearly going to get you to the game. But when you do get down to it, it's a very different experience from anything else that I've played. You do have that one player who's kind of acting as the dungeon master or the GM of the game.
Right.
But they have somewhat of a script, almost, that they're trying to follow. And they actually give you scripted scenarios that you can play through if you'd like. But other than that, you can kind of try and manipulate the players. You don't have total control over where they're going. You don't even have a lot of control over where they're going. But you want to try and manipulate them to do something. And if you do manage to kill them or have them fail the scenario, whatever it may be, they do rewind. But the second time you play through that same scenario, it may not play out the same way. So somebody who's supposed to die may not. And so you have this changing scenario from time to time. It's a very interesting game. So that's one of the ones that I thought was really cool.
Cool.
For me, it was the first game that Zee and I played, actually, 5 Tribes. I wasn't sure about this, even though it was Bruno Cathal and it was a no-brainer for me to try it. All the videos and all the pictures and everything I read about it, it looked kind of boring to me from before I got here, so I wasn't sure what I was going to feel about it. But after we played it, we were both pretty much blown away by it. Worker D placement, where you have a tons amount of choices at the beginning of the game, and as the game goes on, they start to shrink, and you're moving these meeples around and dropping them off and doing some actions, and each of those have a specific action. And the way that the puzzly aspect works is that you might be last in turn order and think you have no good move, but because of what other people have done, the board has changed and the puzzle morphs, and it changes throughout the whole game. And it's a random setup, so it's going to be completely different every time. And how it changes from turn to turn is what really made it blow me away, is that every turn, you might think you know what you're going to do, but you've got to do something else. It really blew me away.
All right, so what do you guys think about the convention as a whole?
Ridiculously huge this year compared to past years. The hall seems so much larger, and I know they added that whole back section, but I wasn't here yesterday, so today was my first day in the hall. And I did manage to make it all the way from one end to the other just today. It can be done. However, I only played 3 games the entire time, and they were only like 10, 15-minute demos.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get anything done in my trip through the hall, but I did see the whole thing.
I was wrong.
So many times tonight, Tom.
For me, it seems like the theme is like sold out. Like, I don't remember last year it being like where all the big releases were either rationed or already sold out by the time you got there. I mean, people that are lining up at 10 in the morning to run to a booth aren't getting one of the 50 copies that are there, and they're trying every day. And I don't ever remember a handful of all these big things that everyone's excited about that nobody can get. And I don't know how to explain it, but I see a lot of people being very frustrated with that, and I kind of feel their pain. So I don't know. I hope this isn't a trend that's going to happen, because it's almost like it's been ruining the experience for some of the people as I've been talking online waiting for some of these.
Well, I'm sure they don't do it on purpose. It does just seem like distribution issues are the theme here. Because I'm sure if they had the choice, a lot of these publishers would love to have lots more to sell. They just can't. They were only able to airship that many. Or in the case of Yellow, losing a pallet and unable to get it here in time for the show meant that they couldn't sell as many. That's just the way it works.
They did get it.
Did they get it?
They got it then.
I'm wondering if part of this is the massive number of games that are releasing here, and the fact that you only have a certain number of printers to make these games, which is going to delay some of these releases. I mean, there's 290 some releases at this Gen Con, something like that. So many new games. How do you get them all printed and here? And there's just so many options. I don't know if everybody can get them here on time, and obviously they can't. So.
All right, well, thank you guys, and thank you for all the reviews that they do. Now we're going to have the Dice Tower webmaster, Rob Searing, and the Dice Tower question answerer, Jason Levine.
And the room is dead.
Okay, you're over here.
Sitting next to my best friend here. Can we go back to XCOM
like you too,
for a second?
Oh, yeah. Okay, the scientist wants to clarify his position in XCOM.
This is why I play Euro games mostly, because I can't roll dice.
That is a filthy lie. That is a filthy lie. Every time, here's the deal. Jason wins all our Euro games, all the time. And it's kind of, we just say, okay, we're playing for second. Because he's really smart in that one particular instance. Euro games. Then we play some stupid luck game where we just roll dice, and he still wins. It's the only games he can't win are negotiation games. I don't know why, but all right, anyway.
Or maybe I was a silent scientist after all.
Kill him. Okay, anyhow. All right, so you both went with us through True Dungeon. What do you think? Rob?
Wow. First time, the closest thing to real role play you can do, live. I'd say everybody's pretty much given away what I can say. I guess the only thing I would do is maybe give a tip and just be quick. That's the one thing we heard over and over again is when you're battling, just fight, get in, get out.
So hold on, get in.
Get in.
Get out. Oh! A little switcheroo at the end there, okay.
Well, I was a little different because I was the rogue, and
You got
for
out,
those
got
of you,
got in.
exactly, it was in and out the whole time. We know what the rogue does. You have a little treasure box you're going through, and you have to wait in the puzzle rooms. And your team asks you if your team basically says, you look at them and you're like, do you guys need a clue? Do you guys need a clue? And every time Tom would look at me and go, no, we're fine. I'd be like, okay, I'm taking the treasure instead. I don't care about the rest of the group. I'll take that treasure. So I took treasure every single time.
You actually
They
said the
didn't
words,
know
do you
about
need
it.
a clue?
Yes, I did. And you were like, we're
Did
fine.
you ever hear this?
I found out later when I would say, hey, did you get a clue out of the box? And he'd say, no, I took the treasure because Tom said we were fine.
I apologize. I have this mental filter where I tune Jason out.
I wish I had that filter right now.
All right, well, what do you think about the convention?
Oh, it's been great so far. Got to play a whole bunch of new games. Right now, my favorite new game, I'm with Zee on this, is 5 Tribes.
All right.
Loved it. Interestingly enough, I also got to play a nice big version of Dice Duel during the Nerd Night for Charity last night. I lost to Jeff's daughter. I never lose to you, but I lost to a teenage girl.
I lose to her also.
I might have to play Melody more often when we get back home.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, going over to Robert.
So I did get a chance to play King of New York, and I'd say the one thing I keep getting asked is what's the big difference? And I'd say just, Tom, you hit the nail on the head. It gives you a reason to have that stand-up now. There's a couple more mechanics to it, and yeah, you now have more control over what you do based upon where that stand-up is, I think.
All right.
And then my other big game that I really enjoyed, nobody's talked about yet, was Downwood Tales, the Mice and Mystics expansion. I've got 7 kids myself, and that's our big hit.
Robert loves Mice and Mystics.
Probably more than me, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This is as big, if not bigger, than the first, the base game. It's just really great. Adds a
Robert.
whole nother layer.
Why did you bring a bag up with you?
Yes, so Tom was gracious enough to allow me to talk about
That was a
this.
nice segue.
Good job, Tom.
So one of the things I've started doing is building inserts for games. I won't take up too much time here, but we're actually going to be giving one away for Lords of Waterdeep. Fit Lords of Waterdeep and Skullport all into one insert
Nice.
and fit into the Skullport box. So the Skullport, as you know, is a much smaller box. This fits both games into one. It's got a bunch of little trays in it for a lot of the meeples or the resource tokens, and then you've got these little trays that'll hold all the player tokens. So there's 6 players giving each a tray. We'll be giving one away, and then I've got 2 for sale in the back, and we'll catalog.
Well, what if someone's listening and they want to get a hold of you about this?
www.inserthere.me. I did ask a bunch of people. No.
That's a really good think tank.
Insert here.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. They did a good job. All right. Well, sadly, we had, not sadly. I'm trying to segue this. Okay, never mind.
You can't do it. Just give it up. You can't. Next. Oh. That's it.
We had 2 others with us on our trip through True Dungeon, and they're from a podcast that a few others listen to, and that would be The Secret Cabal. So they have contractual time on this show, so you guys get to come up.
Now, while these guys are coming up, I should notice we've been in the booth in the exhibit hall, and a lot of the other podcasts in the network have been taking some time in our little booth space.
Yeah.
And the Secret Cabal guys moved in at some point today, and I suddenly noticed that a lot more people were around us. There was a line going up the street waiting to talk to these guys, and I was like, people weren't doing that for us.
I was shocked. It was crazy. I thought it was like, wow, everybody loves Eric all of a sudden. What the heck's going on here?
I was just in the corner like, where do I go now?
Well, let's get the obligatory True Dungeon thing. This was your first time. Jamie and Chris went with us. What'd you guys think?
Oh, I thought it's the first time we ever done it before. And I didn't know exactly what to expect other than what Tom and other people have said, but it was a really great experience. And you're right, it's expensive. We didn't pay for it, but whatever. But
well, someone paid.
Someone paid. But anyway, it was a great experience, but it is a little expensive for what it is, but it's very difficult. We even went through on easy, and he said, let's do all combat, because all you got to do is throw the shuffleboard, and Tom and I were throwing shuffleboard, and we were hitting everything.
And the practice.
And but I'll tell you, we failed the mission, but we did not die. And I attribute that to my man, Dan King and I, because we were the ones that got that question right at the end. And we didn't die because of that. But I thought it was really fun.
Oh, you
Actually,
that crashed the ship.
I think Chris saved us at one point with his magic spell.
He did. Well, us mages.
We
Eric
both-
and I,
we both had some good
rocked
shots.
it the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it also helped having some insanely genius Engelsteins with us.
I know,
That
it was
was just-
insane. Sydney was great. She was like, she figured out all the puzzles.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. She's like running around pointing at things. It was terrific.
Best
It was
ever.
awesome.
So that means we have a dream team to do it again. And
Exactly.
fail just as spectacularly.
And nothing worked, but, all right.
Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely understand why people do it numerous times so they can figure out those puzzles. They're insane.
Oh, so you go through multiple times with the same
For
puzzle?
the same run, yeah. Spend $150 and do it 3 times, and then,
You eventually get it right.
yeah.
We also have Tony Topper with us. Give us the news.
The news. The news is it's overwhelming here. It's bigger than ever, and I don't know, the exhibit hall just overwhelms me. I was in there for like 2 hours today, and I had to leave. It's just crazy compared to last year, even bigger.
Did you see any games that interested you?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Elaborate, Tony.
See, I don't have the acquisition disorder like these two, so they're frothing at the mouth, running to try to get all the games that they want. But I'm interested in five tribes. That's the one that I keep hearing good things about. The quality of the game just looks really great. So you might see me being one of those people that run to that booth tomorrow morning.
I would like to see that.
That'd be awesome.
What about you guys? What'd you think?
I like it tons better than I did last year. I mean, last year I thought it was a fun con and all that, but I was still Origins is my thing. But this year, I guess with the knowledge that I gained from last year's experience, I'm just doing things differently. I'm taking things in. I'm like taking it, going through the exhibit hall in a different way, and it's just a fun con, and it's mostly fun because of all the people. Like talking to people and hanging out with people. Not the playing games. We play games. It's fun, but it's all about just hanging out with people, talking, and it's so wonderful. This year is better than ever for conventions for me. Love it.
This is one of those cons where you can just be standing next to anybody, anywhere in this area in Indianapolis, and you're probably a couple blocks away, and you can talk to the person next to you, and they're a nerd into board games. It's so much fun. I really enjoy Gen Con. You come here and just meet people. And I'm going to tell you that exhibit hall is crazy this year. I'm scared of tomorrow. Tomorrow is just going to be just out of this world.
If you're into craft beer and you haven't had the froth of con yet, you're missing out. It's excellent.
I asked Tony to bring a growler of the Frothicon here, but he wouldn't do it. We were going to be drinking in the back because that's what you do.
That's our shtick.
And on that cue, thank you guys for coming. It's my turn. And now for one of our regular segments on the show.
The Dice Tower is often known for its positive, political outlook. In fact, we like everything. Or not. It's time now for the Dice Tower rant. Are you ready?
It's been a while since I've done a rant. So I get to do a rant this time.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I do them mostly on Board Game Breakfast. Let's start this rant. Okay. We'll start in a second. Technology's our friend. I need a little louder. I can't hear it. This one's for Mr. Bonacore. Why are there so many games about trading and pushing the cubes on the board? Points are desired, but only illusions. I kind of need a gun and a sword. The mechanics are quite good, the rules, they are simple, but I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the theming connection, the dice rollers, hidden traders, and me. Building a castle, crossing the ocean, black cubes are coal, red are food. Here is a reference card full of conversions, turning green cubes into blue. I need lots of theme or else I shall scream. I cannot get into this game. Someday we'll find it, the theming connection, Amerithrash, hidden traders, and me. Buckets of dice, tons of minis, stories from games long ago. Key change. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name because I fell asleep in the Euro game. Is this the sweet sound? A game with a strong theme? Am I immersed in this game? I will stand up and say, I'm not going to admit it, I'll do no trading in the Mediterranean Sea. Someday we'll find it, the theming connection for Bonacore and Summer and me. La-di-da-da-di-da-da, la-da-da-da-da, give me thee. Okay, you go last, okay? Eric just like said it's the Muppets. Okay, now we're going to go to the folks from the Dice Tower Network. Besides Secret Cabal, they got to go first because they were in the True Dungeon. So we're going to take a couple at a time. Well, I don't even know if they're all here. Some of them I've seen. Mr. Michael Fox, are you around anywhere? No. Well, he's off the list.
You know what's interesting though? He moved right off of that song. Did you notice? No talking back, no commentary. It's like, yeah, okay, next, moving on, here we go. Why did you ever agree to this?
Was it that bad?
No, it was, I'm last. I hate you.
All right. Joseph Barber, are you here? I swear. Mark Street, I know, is here because he's running our sound from Board Game Corner. And Jeff Gamble, I know, is here. So we'll have those two guys up first. While Jeff is coming up, we'll start with Mark. Mark, you do some reviews for the Dice Tower?
Yes, we're the new kids on the block, and it's been a great experience so far.
So what do you think about Gen Con?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's overwhelming, and I think my favorite part so far is just meeting everybody and the warm feedback and all the warm wishes. It's been great. Thank you.
And Jeff, you have a podcast, The Long View, which is pretty much the opposite of Gen Con. Because Gen Con is all about playing games now.
Right.
But you still come and look at the new games.
Absolutely.
Cult of the New gets everyone.
That's right. It does suck us all in, that's for sure. So, but thanks for having me here. It's my first Gen Con, and it's been amazing. It's much bigger than I ever imagined it would be. That dealer hall today was incredible. Running demos and then running around and trying to do some shopping. It's been an amazing experience, and getting to meet people, and people who listen to the show, and getting to meet great people, and trying to line up some new stuff for the future. It's been fantastic.
Now, did you guys see any games that stood out to you?
Oh yeah, I've been.
Don't say Five Tribes. Come on, be different.
Dead of Winter is the one I was looking most forward to, and I did get a copy. I got to play King of New York, which was fantastic with Zee and.
That's right. Yeah, we had some fun the other night. We played a couple of games.
Yep.
That was great. Played some games with Mark.
It was really fun. So it was a great time, and I'm still going to try and get my own copy of King of New York, but we'll see.
Yeah, we got in some Imperial Settlers as well.
Yeah, Imperial Settlers was great. I actually liked it way more than I thought I would.
Right.
All right, what about you, Jeff? What game?
Well, there's a great game that I've been playing and watching. It's I think one that would be very attractive to you because it involves shipping things and moving them through the Panama Canal. That'd be Panamax. And I think you'd like this one because you're actually moving dice. You're not actually moving cubes, so maybe that will help a little bit. But that game's a lot of fun. It hits on all cylinders for me because you got a little economic engine going there. You got a little pick up and deliver, a little bit of a stock thing going on. And it's very engaging and very challenging because you just don't have enough time to do all the things you need to do. And you kind of have to help each other every once in a while, even though you don't want to. So that's been a big hit for me. Equinox by Asmati. Really enjoyed that one. It's a great two-player game. I really enjoy how interactive that is. And I've also had the chance to play Phil Eklund's upcoming new game, Greenland. And that's a really interesting title. Lots of great stuff going on there. And it involves dice. You gotta do some dice rolling, and it's just really engaging. So that's one that I'm really enjoying as well.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for helping out and coming on the show.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Next, we have the Blue Pegs, I think, if they're here. They are! Hooray!
Thank you very much. Hey, guys.
All right, well, you're one of the newer podcasts on the network.
We are.
Blue Peg, Pink Peg. That means you love life.
We do love life, the game of life.
A lot of people have been asking us where the pink pegs are this year.
Yeah, where are the pink pigs, Rob?
I don't know, why don't you ask Stephen Bonnet for?
Yeah, where's Christina? You're keeping her away from me.
Christina's got a thing.
Christina has an unnatural affection for Stephen Bonacore. Well, unsettling, but she's not my wife. Big deal for me!
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I can see why, He's a very nice and wonderful man.
Indeed. We love Stephen. Christina loves Stephen a lot. So anyways, no, we've had a really wonderful time. Thank you for letting us talk to you guys. This has been a great pleasure. Yeah, it was a year ago at Gen Con last year that we first talked to Tom and started the work to become a part of the network, and we've been just about a year now, so we've been having a wonderful time.
This con I've been a little afraid of, actually. We did an episode, a couple episodes back, talking about what was going to happen in the year, and Christina's prediction was that I was going to get, or one of us was going to get face punched or punched in the throat at a con.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure that
Sam's not here.
Yeah, he's not here. But I thought for sure that was going to happen, or still might.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually have a few photos. Some people decided they wanted to take some pot shots on us. Fortunately, it didn't swing very hard. But yeah, it's been a fun con. We've met some wonderful people.
What are you saying on your shows?
Yeah, well,
it's about board games.
Somebody doesn't listen to Blue Pig, Pink Pig. No, we're about having a good time. time. It is our wives, after all, so you can imagine the content.
Any games?
That was a strangely timed throat clearing there.
Any games you found interesting?
I want to say 5 tribes, but everyone else has been saying that. A gem for me, thank you. A gem for me, and I wasn't expecting it, was, what was the pepper game? Scoville. I thought that was really, really interesting. I went in for a demo. It's not out yet, but I went in for a demo, and I wasn't really expecting much, and then I sat down, and I really enjoyed it. You're planting different types of peppers, you're harvesting, you're breeding them together, you're scoring points. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
That's a neat one, and the production of it is really top notch. The different colored peppers, and the board has pepper-shaped holes in it that the peppers sort of fall into. There's this clear ghost pepper that's really neat. They did a great job with it, and it's a very fun tactical game.
Yeah, the Tasty Minstrel has a room off of the main hall where they're doing incredible work. By the way, those guys are super impressive. As far as the interaction with the consumers. If you get a chance, you should go in there because they're really doing some wonderful work. Mine, I think, is probably Imperial Settlers. I went and demoed it with Ignacy and right before the con center opened, and I played almost a full little session with him and another. It's really got the light asynchronous play that's kind of cool about it. Everything weighs out perfectly as far as the cost, the power. You can raise things for another resource. It's got some really incredible components to it. I was interested in it, but I wasn't as excited about it as others have been. But once I played it, I got really pretty excited about it, and then it sold out. But I think that's probably the one that's been impressing me the most.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show.
So much.
We have another duo of podcasters here, or maybe more, I'm not sure how many, from the Geek All-Stars. 2 of them are here, so I guess they're the best because they call themselves the All-Stars. Chris and Dan. Now we wait for them to come up. That was a wise move to hug Bonacor. That will bring you good luck for many years.
I'm a huggy guy. I can't.
Fair enough.
You get one in a little while too, Tom.
Okay. All right, guys. What's up with Gen Con?
So,
go ahead.
All right. Well, the one that I think is the hit of the con is it's cheap too. So it's sold out, but it was cheap. Surprise! I know. Diamonds by Stronghold Games. This game is awesome. I love trick taking, and it just takes it in a little bit of different direction, but it's so much fun. It's quick. It's easy to learn. It's a great pair for that Panamax Scoville. I'm already in the Scoville heads. The Diamonds Panamax 1-2 punch that I'll be in trouble for buying so many more games. But Bonacor, good job, buddy. Good job. And if anybody hasn't met
excellent job,
Mike Fitzgerald, is Mike here at all? Mike Fitzgerald is one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. He's got some great stories, great designer. He'll just talk to you for hours. He's so cool. And he's the designer for Diamonds, and great game.
Chris?
Me? Well, I had a chance to play before I came here, Imperial Settlers. Everybody's been talking about this game. I got a chance to also purchase a copy while I was here. I loved it that much. Everybody's been talking up about the different resource management things you can do with it. I love the fact that the factions are so different. It's got a lot of replayability. It'll have even more replayability once Ignacy introduces more factions to the game. It's fascinating because each card has multiple uses, so you're never stuck with something not to do. And each time you're using that card, it's going to create a different avenue of options for you game to game. So that's why I really thought that it was probably, like I said, we haven't had a ton of time to play some of the games because we bought a ton and we've been buying a ton, and of course we've had interviews and appointments, but we've been lucky enough to sit down and play a few games. Other than that, I'd just like to mention really quickly, nobody's really talked about it, but also had a chance to play Doomtown before the con, and people who are really into we'll call them non-CCGs. We can't really say LCGs in this instance, but
look for the lawyers.
Sorry.
Well, apparently some companies don't care about those lawyers.
Right. For the time being, they don't care about those lawyers. Doomtown, any of you who are familiar with the old Deadlands CCG will find this a much easier to play experience. However, it's very immersive. If you're really into the head-to-head, it has a lot of tactical movement. You have to think about spatial qualities as well as the things that have inner card qualities. So there's a lot of cards with words, so go into it with that. But the production quality is top notch. If you're really into that type of net runner experience, I think you'll have a blast with that.
And what's great about the way Doomtown comes is that the way it comes in the box, they have a rule book that tells you like the first 2 or 3 rounds, and it's already dealt that way in the box, which is amazing for companies to do.
Yeah, it's a great tutorial, and it's really honestly the only way to learn this game if you're not familiar with the system. But AEG has done a great job of packaging that for fans of that kind of genre.
And Tom, if you allow us before you kick us off stage, listen, come to the Dice Tower booth, see us schmoes, it's all right. But if there's one reason why you want to come to the Dice Tower booth, it's because you might see Richard Lanius around there and get a demo by him, because you haven't lived until Richard Lanius has given you a demo of one of his games.
One of the greatest guys in the industry.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you guys what you thought of the convention as a whole.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's been awesome. Like you said, they opened up, 33% more, and you still can't walk? It's amazing.
It's been completely packed, and it's a little bit overwhelming, but it's awesome because we're all here and we're all having a great time together. And that's the best part about this is the community. And the bigger the community gets, the more tight-knit the community seems to get too. And that's what is awesome about Gen Con. So hopefully it keeps getting growing bigger and bigger, but hopefully we don't outgrow Indianapolis too soon because we're getting to that point. All of you are trying to get hotel rooms, I'm sure can akin to that.
And a lot of people call it like summer camp, because I see people that we game with like in the last few years, and it doesn't matter how long the time's passed. You just see people like, hey, how you doing? How you been? And that's what gamers are all about, and that's what we love is just seeing.
Absolutely.
See friends.
Show. Absolutely.
And you too, Tom. We love seeing you.
Hug. I believe you owe him a hug.
Yeah. Oh, hug it out, guys.
Hug it out.
Zee, you want?
Jason's weeping already. Don't hug me too.
I'm waiting for the song. And Eric, we're gonna.
All right.
I'm not singing.
There's a few others. Let's see. Greg, you want to come up? Sure. All right, and Kevin. I know.
I'm not either.
I know. That's why you're last. All right. Greg has been dancing.
Hi, Tom.
He's so sharply dressed. Okay. While we're waiting for Kevin, what game have you been enamored with?
Well, actually, I want to ask, since it's a show, can I do a review? If I promise to keep it short.
Of a game store?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, he's scared. Yeah. Who thinks I should do a review? Come on. And I've been inspired by the music. This is totally unprepared. I think I'd like to improv something.
Oh, wow.
You guys can grade me. You guys ready? Yeah. All right. It's going to have to be a rap because you know how that goes. What? Whose game store this is, I think I know, and I'm going to share with the Dice Tower show. So listen close to my review. This store is owned by Kathleen Donahue. So that was a pretty good start, right? But first I've got a beef with Eric, you see. He thinks he can do my job better than me. He went down to Washington, D.C. and found a store that's awesome-me. Labyrinth Games right off Capitol Hill. If you go there, it's totally filled. It's long and narrow, but not straight. It's totally awesome, really great. It's well lit, nice staff, but wait. There's more. That doesn't rhyme with great. So, if you were to go into the back, there's tons of people, games in a stack. It's a wonderful place for a game night. I had a line for that. It was a lot of fun, it was totally right. I'll just add one more thing. Kathleen takes the games into the schools, makes kids smart, keeps them from being fools. You won't find a store that's any funner, so one last word, summerer. No. Kevin. Zee, I just want to let you know, I got nothing.
Do you want to sing for me?
Now, if you don't know, Kevin,
sing for me.
Kevin is in charge of Dice Tower Showdown. Keeps people, yells at them, harangues them, gets them all working, and that includes the host.
More than once.
Were we supposed to record this week? Okay, anyhow, so what do you think about the convention?
So before I do my little spiel, and you can edit this out.
Oh, he's about to rap!
Yes!
Go ahead.
There are a few people in this room that have been on our podcast before. And I just wanted to personally say thank you to those that come on, because they really make our show. And Zee, you're getting suckered into this now, because it's going to get recorded.
Now, remind me what it was you wanted me to do?
So, if anybody in the room ever wants to be on the showdown, we love having new people. Email us at the dicetowershowdown@gmail.com. Okay, Tom, now we can talk.
I have no idea what the secret thing was there. All right. Hey, if you've ever been on Showdown, raise your hand. I'm curious if anyone... Oh, that's right, you were on one. Anyone else?
I know Ryan was...
Okay, well...
See, I don't recognize people
See,
like
you
this.
too could be raising your hand. I heard you all arguing about games all the time
Gotcha.
anyway. The Secret Cabal doesn't even come on the show.
I was
All right.
going to be on, but no one was willing to come up with a game that was better than Merchant of Venus.
I'll be there.
All right, Kevin, what game of the show?
Game of the show? So, you picked the wrong person to come up here, because I've been demoing Sheriff of Nottingham for
I know, I'm tossing you a softball.
I'm giving it. Hey, well, yeah, you just gotta work with me here, right?
Okay.
This isn't my first time. So I've been demoing Sheriff of Nottingham for about 16 hours already.
Are you sick of it yet?
Still, here's the thing: is if we leave here right now, I definitely want to get a group of people together and play.
Yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Now, if anybody in this room does not know about this game, you come see me tomorrow, and I guarantee, Tom, it will be the best demo you have here.
Okay, that's a gauntlet. Anyone else here demoing games? Raise your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just called you out.
Has anybody been to one of my demos yet?
Wow.
What'd you guys think?
If he's lying, raise your hand. Well, there's one hand.
Really good.
Oh.
That was really good.
Oh, that's right.
Well, thanks. Okay, now, other than the ego trip,
Outside of that, I did get to play Imperial Settlers before Gen Con, and it really is that good.
where did you play it?
Tom, I believe I got a copy when I was down in Orlando, Florida, at the Dice Tower Con.
Softball.
Kevin gets to come on the show more often. All right. Greg, what about you? Games?
Well, top game for me, King of New York. It's already been said. I mean, it's King of Tokyo Plus, and you can't get it.
Better title, King of Tokyo Plus.
I will say one thing I'm actually kind of excited about is for the first time ever, Haba USA is here. So
Yes.
anyone with kids, it's great to have them at the show and not to tap the
What are
table.
you talking about, kids? They have taken most of my money here at the con.
Well, Dancing Eggs is for all ages.
Absolutely. I now have a copy.
Yes,
All right.
very cool.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming by.
Thanks, Tom.
Roger, are you here? Roger Hicks? Oh, wow, I got a good seat for that. Thank you. Is there anyone who I've missed from the Dice Tower who wanted to come up here? Okay, well then, that would give our final seat to Mr. Stephen Bonacor, who thinks and is indeed an honorary member of the Dice Tower.
Oh, you've been uncharacteristically wonderful to me tonight.
I'd be scared, Stephen.
Yeah, there could be all kinds of stuff happening
Yeah,
right now.
I have not been uncharacteristically nice to you tonight. Our emails are, we've done well, right?
We've done very well.
Other than
together.
that game of Hearthstone, which was an accident.
Let's start with some stories, right? Let's start with stories tonight. Whenever Tom Vasel calls me on the phone, I take the call. I see his name come up, and I'm like, there's got to be a good reason for this happening. So I'm going to take this call. So I'm sitting on the train on the way home from work. Tom Vasel. I'm about to play Hearthstone, which I only get to play on the train. You know, a couple of games, and I'm done. Tom calls me. We can talk forever about nothing.
You're probably right, sir.
About nothing. He just keeps talking. And he says, "What time? Anything else? I was going to play a game of Hearthstone." He says, "Hearthstone? Okay, let's play Hearthstone. It'd be great. I'm not very good at it." So he's telling me, "I'm not really good at it, so you're going to kill me." I lost faster than I've ever lost in that game. Ever.
It's like three turns, gone. I was pwned, I was rolled. Tom Vasel is not an honest man sometimes.
So Roger, how's your Gen Con?
tonight.
Well, I have to admit, and I got a question for you, or a confession, I guess, but when I'm at home, I listen to the Dice Tower on double speed. So
what?
I thought every episode was a musical episode.
This is going to be particularly interesting double speed.
Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection.
And that is a great segue to the second story I'd like to tell. So Tom tells me sometime in the spring, maybe around Origins, something like that, he goes, at Gen Con, we want to do this really big, Dice Tower Live thing, and we're going to do it as a musical. We're going to do singing. And I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's great. I can sing, I can carry a tune, okay. I want to be in it. I was like, great. Weeks go by. Emailed to Tom, we got a script or something? You got something we're going to do here? I mean, you can't just wing this kind of thing. You got to kind of practice it or something. No, don't worry about it. We got it. Yeah, right. Weeks go by. Tom, we're like 3 weeks outside of Gen Con. We need like a script here. He goes, don't worry about it. I'm working on it right after this. The week before Gen Con, he sends me an email. He goes, this is what I want to do with you as a duet. The Rainbow Connection. Tom, you want to sing about the Rainbow Connection with me? What kind of message are you sending me or something? I'm as liberal as the next guy, man, but hey, I mean, we're friends, baby, we're friends. And I'm like, you know what, all the stress of Gen Con, I can't memorize these crazy lyrics, so I can't do it. So Tom said he'll do it alone. However,
here we go.
I figured that I can never be as good as Eric Summerer, and I can never be as bad as Jeff Engelstein. By the way, Jeff, you're fired. It's 9 o'clock on a Friday. The Dice Tower fans shuffled in. Tom Vasel sitting next to me, contemplating how he will win. He said, Barnacle, can you sing me a melody? I'm not really sure how it goes, but you're sad, some say sweet, but I knew you compete with Space Cadets Dice Duel rolls. Na 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 na. Sing us a song, you're the game publishing man. Sing us a song tonight. Cause we're all in the mood for a memory. What's the last line? And Space Cadets Dice Duel's got us feeling alright. That's it, guys.
There's a lot of things I didn't know were going to happen in this show.
That would definitely be one of them.
Roger? Okay, well, Roger, tell us a little bit about what you're doing with news and such.
Well, I help with the Dice Tower News along with Paul and Joseph.
And Elliot.
Yes, I knew that, sorry. No, those three guys are great, and I can help. I have little interviews at the end, so I've recorded lots of interviews. That's what I've done at the convention, is work. And so we got lots of cool interviews that will be coming on the Dice Tower News, and
Yeah, and I like to pause here. I mean, just with the Dice Tower News, we have Joseph is here doing it, and Robert's hearing, and we've had people tweeting. I mean, I think we've exhaustively tweeted this convention. If you miss it and you're listening to the show, go to Dice Tower _news on Twitter, and there's a few tweets.
There's a couple.
There's a lot of pictures, a lot of things, and that's the result of a whole team of people tweeting different things. I mean, you can sometimes tell who's tweeting what because of who's in the picture or because they shout woot during the Fantasy Flight Report. So what do you think is the game of the convention?
Well, I come to conventions, and the only way I can say that to you guys is to play the prototypes before they're ever released. So I haven't actually played any published games yet.
But there's any that you've seen that you think look cool?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. XCOM looked great, 5 Tribes, Imperial Settlers. I almost played that at Dice Tower Con, never had a chance. So, boy, there's a lot of them I can't wait to see. So.
All right, well, thank you, sir. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right. I don't have any kind of segue here. I'm just going to move the microphone.
You want me to sing now?
Are you ready?
You want me to follow that? Okay, well, you stole a little bit of my thunder with your song. Mine's a little similar, but a little more sarcastic, perhaps.
Hit it.
Oh, what a game. Building churches down in Germany, pushing cubes through all antiquity. I remember what a game. Oh, what a theme. I want conflict if you got no dice, but you got your silk all up in my spice. What a game, oh what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when you say this game's new. Oh wow, it's about shipping goods to Timbuktu. The design team has 7 math degrees. Before the trade phase comes to kill me, please. Shoot me now, oh what a game.
Oh, you're going to share a mic with Eric. All right, we're almost done with the show. One more segment.
Where do you keep all your ties? If I threw water at you during a game, would you yell at me? That's how it will authoritatively. Definitely. Possibly. Maybe. Answer your questions.
It's at the ball, down the left, then I make another left, and it's right there. All right, we have some questions. You can ask any of us or all of us. We don't have a ton of time here. Just raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll try to repeat it up here so people listening can hear it. Yes?
So when will you release your album?
Maybe that's dropping soon.
Well, first we have to head back into the studio, and we have to get the orchestrations for all of it, re-record everything.
I think you've been here for a one-of-a-kind thing. Unless we can do it next year, we'll see.
With maybe some rehearsals.
No. Do you have time for rehearsals?
For you, Tom, I answer the calls. We've already established that.
All right, any other questions? Yes?
Thoughts on Mega Man the game?
Mega Man the game isn't here.
Yeah,
It's a card game.
There's a card game, but it's not, the board game isn't here. It's, they've had distribution and clearance issues. They have like 2 more miniatures that they're not quite cleared with Capcom yet. So that means they don't have a game yet. I'm hoping to see it soon, but check that off the list. It's not here.
Yes?
What secret or passed by booths should we go check out tomorrow?
What was the question?
what booth that we normally pass by should we really make sure we check out tomorrow?
Stronghold Games.
That was so obvious that, you know, but there's a booth that's all the way in the back corner, flux capacity.
Yes,
That has
flux-
a couple.
the flux capacity, I think.
The flux capacity. They have a couple little games, but that Gone Viking little trick-taking game looks pretty cool. I mean, I know it's a trek to get back to that corner, but there's some other folks back there. Mr. B Games and such are around there. There's some really, really good booths in that area, and really, really not good booths.
Yeah.
So you guys, that's like, you know, the lottery, but there is some good stuff. Any other questions? Yes.
What are your thoughts on the upcoming releases from Bezier Games, Subdivision and Mad King and Bluebird and Werewolf?
Okay, well, Mad King Ludwig is a wonderful, wonderful game. I've played it. It's fantastic. I don't know if I like it better than Suburbia yet. It's very comparable. They're different in many ways, but they're in the same bucket. I haven't played Subdivision, and Werewolf's just awesome always. What about you guys?
I'm contractually obligated to say that if there were some sort of expansion to One Night, that would be something that would be awesome. But I haven't heard anything.
I think Ted's an awesome guy. He's a brilliant designer, so I bet they're going to be great.
That was a lot of wishy-washiness.
No, I
but
love
all
Ted.
right.
I mean, he's great. I don't know the games that this current crop though.
He must. Okay. Yes, sir.
Have you ever had a chance now to see the photocopy of Argent, the consortium, for Level 99 Games?
I looked over it. I was really hoping it would be here in finished form. It looks really cool. I haven't gone through gameplay. I'm trying not to go through gameplay of games until I've had a chance to read the rules, so that I don't accidentally say a game has a decent rule set when it doesn't.
It looks pretty though.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems like the theme of this year is like dice. I mean, all the filler games. I mean, it seems like, can you talk to that? Doesn't it seem like there's more dice, more randomness?
I think for me, the pattern I've noticed is a lot of games have a monster theme this year. You know, everything's RAR, and then King of New York, and then that funny one with the little robot monsters. What's
I
that
bought
called?
it, and I'm going to make you play it.
But you're right. There is. It's a good vibe for me, especially because I think everything's sort of gravitating a little bit towards the middle. There's not that many heavy games, I think, here. I think most of that stuff gets saved for SN anyway. And I love it. It's all hitting the right weight and depth for me. So that and monsters, and you're right, a bunch of games with dice, and it's great.
Dice often come with lighter games, and I think there's still that trend, that swing toward the lighter, quicker, hour-long, 90-minute maximum games. We're not seeing as many big, heavy 2 to 3 hour monsters.
Yeah, there's not many at all, actually.
And dice are finding their way into Euro games as well.
Right.
I think the dice is a fantastic thing. It can be used so many different ways. I do get sad when a dice game doesn't use rolling of them. It just has them moving around or things. But I mean, it still can be an interesting game. No, I don't know anything about the game. I'm saying I played a game recently, not from you, where the dice just moved around the board, and when they got hurts, they lost a hit point, and that was cool. But I wanted to roll them. I mean, the dice tower needs to be used. It wasn't your game, sir.
If we are talking about trends, though, there seems to be a lot more integration of digital devices into board games. We talked about XCOM, the Golem Arcana game, which is making a good splash. It's a very pretty game. We saw a prototype for, what's it called, Alchemist from Czech
wow.
Games Edition that uses an app to look at two cards. So you got these two little ingredient cards, and the app scans the cards, and every game it's going to be a different result. So you may result in a green potion.
Have you played that game?
I did not play the game, but it was at the Gathering of Friends,
Right.
And they had the prototype there, and I got the demo of it, and oh my god!
And they did give us permission to talk about it, so we're okay here.
Just as a concept, if you just think about that for a second, that you're going to be using your portable device, and you're going to be scanning things, and the results will be different per game, but the same within a game.
Right, same within the game, but then you hit a reset button the next time you play it.
It's off the charts. Great concept.
So we're going to be seeing this a lot more in the next year or
Well,
two.
I'm calling it Alchemist is going to be a very hot game.
Yes.
It just, I think it's the kind of game you teach someone and they're just going to be amazed at how neat it is. I heard rumblings about it from the gathering.
Yep.
And then when they showed it to me, it was very, very cool. Got time for a couple more questions? Yes, sir.
What are some games that you've seen that don't look very interesting, that are appealing, but you know they are good, or vice versa?
Just watch out, Tom. There's all the publishers here, too.
My mother said if you can't say anything. No, man. See, I mean, part of it's going to be we have to play all the games. They all look nice, really. The production values are really good these days.
They are, so much so that you can tell very quickly when one isn't up to that par. Heading into that entrepreneur's area, you can certainly see where people haven't done their homework and just aren't up to that level.
Yeah, you'll have to ask that question. Send it in the email, and we'll answer it in a couple months, and we'll tell you. Well, we'll tell you. Oh, we thought this was gonna be great, and it was not, and maybe vice versa.
Where we can't get punched, basically.
All right, one last question. Yes, sir.
The Abyss, have you got to play it? And what you think of it?
I believe Zee did.
I did. I got to play it. Well, the first things first. Obviously, it looks stunning. The thing is spectacular looking, but you can see that for yourself. It's the main thing I will say that's a detractor is that it's basically a card game. It's a big box, but it's an overproduced card game. However, that card game is really fun. It's a very good game, lots of interaction, and every action in that game that you're trying to help yourself with, the longer you take to do that, the more you're helping your enemies. If you settle for whatever comes first, you're not helping them. But you keep fishing, that's a funny one, fish. You keep waiting to get just the right thing, and you're passing along way more options to your enemies, so it's very fascinating. Yeah, I thought it was great.
All right, well, we're going to have to close up the official recording of the show at this point. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Steve Bonagor and Stronghold Games, for getting this win for us. And we don't have outro music, so Eric's going to read this cold.
Oh, boy. Do you want to say, I'm Tom Vasel,
right.
all that fun stuff?
And
I'm Stephen Bonacor.
I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Eric Summerer.
And you've been listening to The Dice Tower.
Thanks for listening. Promotional consideration has been provided by board game publishers in the form of review copies of games. This episode, number 368, was recorded in front of a live convention audience on August 15th, 2014. Coming up next week, sleep. The Dice Tower is produced by Tom and myself, with production assistance from Jason Roth, Ty Perez, Eric Matthews, and Rob Searing. Our theme was composed by Timothy Pinkham. Unrefrigerated pork inspections provided by the Sheriff of Rottingham. And hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com. Let us know what you think of the show by posting to the Board Game Geek Guild, emailing us at thedicetower@gmail.com, or liking us on Facebook, or simply yelling from the audience. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network, like Ludology, The Secret Cabal, Blue Peg, Pink Peg, The Long View, The Plaid Hat Podcast, and Dice Tower Showdown at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
All right. Well, I made it. It's been a long 2 months. Bonacor is a jerk. Don't buy his games. He's always mean to me. The reason I call him is the correct statements he makes in all the podcasts that he shows up in all the time.
The invoice in this room is going to be coming to you soon.
Steve, don't worry, I'm still recording.
He made me swear that I would be nice to him for 2 months, and I did, right?
Yeah, sort of.